Before this video starts, I just want to give a massive shout out to all my channel members. If you want to receive a shout out, then become a channel member today and you'll be shown on screen like all these other channel members here. Anyways, enjoy the video. On October 2nd, version 12.7 dropped in the Japanese version and dropped on October 30th for the other versions, and this is a rather interesting update and I want to talk about everything that was added into this version. Since we have loads to cover, all I ask is if you enjoyed this update analysis, give this video a like and sub to the channel if you haven't already, and comment down below what was the most exciting thing about this update was for you. Anyways, we have loads to cover. First, we have the new units, and I'm going to be discussing every single unit with their level 30 stats. Our first new unit is High School Kingpin Riki from the River City collaboration. This unit in both forms is similar to his rival kunio-kun, but has some differences. Kingpin Riki is a tanker with 102,000 health and deals 18,615 damage to the enemy if all of his punches land. However, his attacks take slightly longer to occur compared to kunio-kun, as each punch takes 5 frames compared to kunio's kicks, which take 4 frames. Riki has a TBA of 1.8 seconds, giving him a DPS of 8,212. They also have a cooldown of 57.87 seconds and cost 2,700 cents to spawn. They also have a good speed of 16, comparable to the Crazed tank. Dodgeball Riki loses a good chunk of his health, dropping to 40,800, and is a unit who has multiple ranges for their attacks. They have a standing range of 450 and land their hits between 1 and 451 in the first hit, 200 to 575 in the second, and 400 to 700 in their third range. They will land one hit between 1 to 199 and 576 to 700 range, 2 hits between 200 to 399 and 452 to 700 range, and he will land all 3 hits between 400 to 451 range. Each hit deals 4,760 damage, meaning within the 400 and 451 sweet spot, he will deal 14,280 damage. They also have a 10% chance to knock back all enemies he hits. Their speed goes up to 24 and he lacks any TBA. His cooldown is increased to 97.87 seconds. This unit I feel is slightly more flexible than kunio-kun, but their stats are a bit too low to keep up with the endgame. To celebrate Hatsune Miku's 16th anniversary, Hatsune Miku dons a special outfit to celebrate the event. The 16th anniversary Hatsune Miku has 66,300 health and deals 16,490 damage with 2.6k DPS. She has an attack frequency of 6.27 seconds with a TBA of 4.67 seconds. She has a speed of 10 and has a cooldown of 91.2 seconds. She also costs 3,900 cents to send out and has a range of 350. Her abilities consist of being strong against black enemies, having a 100% chance to slow black enemies for 2.4 seconds, and spawns a level 2 surge between 150 to 750 range. Her strong ability translates to a health stat of 166,750 against black enemies and her dealing 29,682 damage. If she lands her surge, she will deal a total of 89,046 damage. Miku as an anti-black unit is pretty alright. Her damage is satisfactory and her slow can help provide some slight crowd control, especially if she can knock back into her surge. While she isn't going to be the most groundbreaking unit, she can be useful as a good anti-black unit. The third unit is a new unit for the Almighties, as they finally get their own Colossus Slayer in the form of the Egyptian goddess Nefer Aset. Aset at level 30 has 120,700 health or 172,428 health against Colossus enemies. Her base damage is 7,140 or 11,424 damage against Colossus, and she has a DPS of 3,511 or 5,618 against Colossus enemies. She has a range of 300 and has 3 knockbacks. She has a speed of 15, a cooldown of 11.2 seconds, a cost of 4,350, and a TBA of 0. Her total attack frequency is 2.03 seconds. She can also spawn a level 2 wave. This does translate to an effective base damage of 14,280 damage or 22,848 against Colossus enemies with 7,022 DPS or 11,236 DPS against Colossus enemies. She also has a strengthened ability that activates on her first knockback, or 66% health, giving her a 50% boost to her damage. This all translates to a strength damage of 10,710 without the wave, and 17,136 against Colossus with 5,267 base DPS, or a Colossus DPS of 8,427. When you factor both the wave and the strengthened boost, this translates to a base 21,420 damage with 34,272 damage against Colossus enemies. In terms of DPS, this translates to 10,534 base and 16,854 DPS against Colossus enemies. This unit is clearly meant to be a DPS based unit, since their actual offensive stats are low, but they're rather high DPS, especially when strengthened translates to a similar DPS value of Ubers like Kalisa, Unstrengthened Yukimura, and Divine Kaya against Colossus enemies. She doesn't have too many flaws, but her biggest one is her range, since most of the Colossus bosses have over 300 range, meaning a set will take quite a bit of damage. The best way to use her is not as a unit who can keep up the damage for a long period of time, but rather to use her for quick, massive bursts of damage. Especially since at higher levels, her health against Colossus bosses is actually pretty good, having 273,857 health against them at level 50. A very promising unit who may get a truly amazing true form whenever that releases. The last unit added is Cat Egg Pod and is unlocked after beating 60 of the Behemoth Culling stages. This unit is basically a green shell for behemoths. They have a base 68,000 health but have 113,333 health against behemoths. They have a base damage of 27,880 damage, and against behemoths they deal 69,700 damage. This means you have a one-time 70k damage unit who can eat hits for days. They have a speed of 25, a cooldown of 43.53 seconds, and cost 750 to send out. They're also knockback, freeze, slow, surge, weaken, and warp immune. However, the biggest thing that this unit has is a 50% chance to dodge all behemoth attacks for 2 seconds. Unlike other units with a high dodge chance, this unit can actually utilize their dodge for a very long period of time because this unit actually has the health to tank hits, even if the dodge doesn't activate. If you really wanted to, you could treat this unit as a second green shell, since their health is the same as Zamboni's, trading health for extra chip damage. In order to hatch this egg, you need 15 red and green behemoth stones and 2 purple and blue gems. In this update, there is a massive 11 new true forms. The first one is Wyvern from the Merc Storia collaboration. Wyvern, Cat, and Alec gains a 100% boost to their health, going from 39,100 health to 78,200 health. They also gain Colossus Slayer, a 50% chance to weaken black enemies for 3.6 seconds, and slow immunity. The most standout of the abilities is Colossus Slayer, as this gives them an effect of 111,714 health against them, and they deal 42,976 damage with 10,655 DPS. Against black Colossus enemies, they deal 171,904 damage with 42,620 DPS. The only black Colossus enemy as of this video is Legrim, who outranges by 110. This is relevant because this means that Wyvern will usually only get 1 to 2 hits in against Legrim before dying, because Legrim hits anything like an 18-wheeler. However, since Legrim is very easy to permafreeze, Wyvern can be used a way to quickly deal tons of damage to the elephant. In order to get this true form, you need 3 purple cat fruit, 3 blue cat fruit, and 6 epic cat fruit. Next is Hell Commissioner Emma, who gains a 33% boost to her health, going from 255,000 to 340,000 health, making her tied with Boulder and Wafer Cat for the 3rd tankiest unit in the game. She also has an increased chance to weaken, going from 20 to 40%. She also gains freeze and warp immunity. Her wave blocking is made a little bit easier thanks to her boosted health, but her high knockback count still makes it hard to use as a proper wave blocker. The boosted chance to weaken is pretty nice, since it gives her a 78.4% chance to weaken enemies at least once, and given her high attack rate, she could usually secure weaken effects. However, her range of 200 is still extremely small, meaning she can easily be knocked back by most enemies. If you really don't have much else to invest for wave blockers, then she'll still be worth the investment, as her boosted health keeps her alive for much longer, especially thanks to her weaken. Now for the reason why so many true forms are in this update, we finally have the Brainwash true forms. These are all unlocked by playing stages that I will cover later. For Brainwashed Mohawk, they gain a 100% boost to their health, but 3,400 health is still a very tiny amount of health. They also can now dodge relic enemies and are curse immune. The biggest of these is the relic targeting, as this makes them an extremely valuable unit in many stages of Uncanny Legends due to the presence of relic enemies. Since they retain their Aku targeting in their last form, they could also be a very good meat shield option for late UL as well. Since this guy only costs 15 more cents than Manic Mohawk, you could swap the speediness of Manic Mohawk for the dodge chance of Brainwash Mohawk to possibly wall the major threats of UL. Brainwash Eraser has 2 changes, these being a boost of speed, going from 14 to 18 speed and gaining the insane resist ability instead of regular resist. This makes their effective health go from 34,000 to 51,000 health against traitless enemies. This unit, while now being a much better tank against traitless enemies, is still very difficult to use in mixed stages due to their low base health. This unit still costs quite a bit, and thanks to their really long cooldown, you have to dedicate a few slots to research combos to even make them work. An improvement for sure, but their flaws still persist from their last forms. Brainwash Dark gains a 50% boost to their health, going from 6.8k health to 10.2k health. Against traitless enemies, this means that they go from 13,600 health to 20,400 health. They also gain a 100% chance to mini-wave, effectively boosting their damage from the 425 base, or 637 against traitless, to 510, or 764 against traitless. This boosts their DPS from 472 base to 566 DPS, and 707 against traitless to 848. This unit is still terrible, but if you hate Henry or Crockley that much, the boost to their health can be nice, but are you really going to use them for this situation? I feel like if they had a higher leveled mini-wave, you could use them to snipe these enemies and curse them while using a stepping stone, but since they only have a level 1 mini-wave, it barely gives them any piercing power. Brainwash Macho Legs gets a very simple change, an extra level to their surge. This may not sound huge, but this effectively means their damage goes from 13,770 area damage to 18,360 area damage. While this may not sound like much at first, the extra surge level means it takes 2 less Macho Leg hits to deal a collective 100,000 damage compared to Sexy Legs, meaning it is much easier to pile on damage. This simple change makes arguably the best Brainwash unit even better. Brainwash Lion reduces their knockback count from 5 to 2 and increases their curse duration from 1 to 3 seconds. This changes basically nothing for the unit since they still have that awkward typing of Black and Aku. Though because of their high attack rate, they have a humorous uptime of 900%. Too bad this doesn't really help out with anything. Brainwash Flying Cat gets a 100% chance to slow traitless enemies for 2 seconds. The slow is a pretty neat addition, especially if you can get a stepping stone, but it doesn't really change the viability of this unit all that much. Brainwash Island doesn't become any better offensively, but gains Toxic Immunity and a 50% chance to curse zombies for 2 seconds. This allows them to be more viable against Zolo and Big Pang Z. Their curse allows them to stop Zerzeal from freezing your units, and if you can sneak a hit in, you can usually shut down Gravy's knockback for a short period of time. You can also use this unit to shut down Engabaru and Dabu's slow, making them more tolerable to fight. Not too big of a true form, but still very serviceable. Brainwash King Dragon has a slightly reduced backswing, going from 8 frames to 7 frames. They're also freeze and wave immune. While the freeze immunity doesn't do much outside of Henry and Baku, the wave immunity allows them to be a nice option for wave stages, especially since most of the common wave and mini-wave enemies have less range than them, allowing you to get a nice stack of them going. The last of the Brainwash true forms is Brainwash Jumira, who gains knockback, slow, weaken, and surge immunity. Despite getting all of these immunities, they're still not that good because they still have all of the flaws of the other Titan variants, and they still have a lower base damage than Manic Jumira. 4 units in this update gain talents, and the first one is Hirscht, who gains a 40% chance to freeze metal enemies for 0.3 to 3 seconds, knockback immunity, and a strengthen that activates at 33% health, starting from a damage boost of 5 to 50%, along with the standard attack and defense talents. These talents are nice for further enhancing her anti-metal niche, especially the strengthen to help blow up metal enemies more, but if you have sufficient anti-metal units, then investment in them isn't needed. Next is Orthos, who gains a boosted chance to knock back floating enemies, up to a new chance of 50%. Each talent level boosts the chance by 2% per level. They also gain slow immunity and a 100% chance to mini-search between 150 to 450 range, a 10% boost to each level, along with the standard attack and defense boosts. Their slow immunity is useful for their matchup against Queen Bee and Engabaru, since it allows them to more easily reach them and knock them back. The biggest talent I feel is the Mini Surge, because of its very small spawn area, varying only by 300. This allows you to possibly chain knockbacks and can snipe floating enemies that are slightly further back. Since this unit has a high attack rate, you will commonly get those knockbacks, and with the knockback talents, you will on average get a knockback about every 4 seconds or so. Miscellaneous gains curse immunity, relic targeting, and cost down, along with the standard attack and defense buffs. If you really lack anti-relic options, then you can invest into her talents, but the thing is that she has a pretty long cooldown, meaning that keeping her alive is key. Though once you get further into UL, her usage falls off dramatically, though this is just because some of the best anti-relics are unlocked as you play through Uncanny Legends. The last unit to gain talents is Hell Commissioner Emma. Yes, this is the second unit to gain talents in the same update as the true form, with Belly Dancer being the only other unit to have this trait. She has a 40% chance to wave, 4% per level, an increase to her weaken time up to an additional 1.67 seconds, meaning she can weaken up to 3.67 seconds, and Curse Immunity, along with her standard attack and defense buffs. The only standout talents here are Curse Immunity and Health talents. Her Curse Immunity allows her to more reliably weaken enemies, and since her base health is massive, a 20% boost to her health is actually astonishing, to the point where she becomes the second tankiest unit in the game, just behind Hades. One new unit gains Ultra Talents this update, this being God Emperor Raiden. They gain Slow and Surge Immunity, as well as Behemoth Slayer. The Slow Immunity is only for Professor A, but their Surge Immunity makes them an excellent counter against Reynard and Red Energy. Their Behemoth Slayer Ultra Talent is also super useful, since they outrange the two currently existing Red Behemoths, including DNL, as they have a higher range and can help support Courier in fighting them. While only one unit actually gains Ultra Talents, they updated Coppermine and Anubis' TBA talents, so now if you actually want to cut their TBA to 0, you have to spend the full 225 NP to get them there. Now for the new enemies added to this update. The first of the new enemies is 16th Anniversary Miku, a floating enemy who can slow and surge her units, a decent challenge for mid-game players. Next is a new base used for the River City stages. Acts like any other base, so nothing to worry about. Then we have the Mini Angel Cyclone. She, like a lot of the Cyclone variants, has a short range but a very high attack rate. However, she has a 25% chance to spawn a mini surge between 150 to 600 range. While an individual mini surge won't deal much damage, the constant attack rate can easily spawn a ton of them, slowly piling damage onto your non-surge immune units. Then, we have probably one of the coolest enemies ever added into the game. This is Miscellaneous the Calamity, who serves as the final boss for all of the Behemoth culling stages. They're a floating Behemoth enemy with 2.8 million health and deal 200,000 damage across an area of 550 range, giving them a piercing range of 200. To put into perspective just how much damage they deal, Awakened Nala will only be able to survive a singular hit if they're at level 45. They're also Wave, Freeze, Slow, and Surge immune. They also have the distinction of being the only enemy in the game to be Warp immune. This behemoth is a reference to Shagar Magala, who is effectively the final boss of Monster Hunter 4. Both Magala and Miscellaneous emit a virus or miasma that makes anything it interacts with more aggressive, and this explains how the behemoths came to be. When both of these creatures attack, they emit a purple hue from their attacks. Also, a cool detail is that Miscellaneous' color scheme of purples is the opposite of Ganglion's yellowish green, and these colors usually sit on the opposite side of a color wheel, making them much more distinct. Now we have all of the malevolent true form enemies, and I'm just gonna say it now, they all have the Surge Mirror ability. First is Malevolent Mohawk, who like their Wicked Cat counterpart is very fast, has a weak shield, and a ton of knockbacks. They also gain Wave, Knockback, Freeze, Slow, and Weaken Immune. Their shield health is 48,000, and with a base health stat of 3.6 million health, if you decide to brute force this enemy, you'll be fighting an enemy with effectively 5.04 million health. Malevolent Eraser trades some range and damage from Manic Eraser to get a level 2 surge that spawns between 150 to 550 range. They also have 5.5 million health, meaning that they're the non-collab enemy to have the highest base health in the game, taking the title from their Manic counterpart as well as Manic Mohawk, who both have 4.8 million health. Malevolent Dark has 2.1 million health, with 3 regenerable shields that give them 4.2 million health if you decide to brute force them. They also double in attack power at 34% health, dealing 17,500 damage with 32,000 DPS. They also have a 100% chance to curse your units for 10 seconds, swapping out Manic Dark's freeze. Then we have Malevolent Macho Legs, who spawns a level 4 surge between 150 to 600 range. They have twice the health of Manic Macho Legs, having 600,000 health. Their total surge damage is 52,800, and since you can easily have more than one on the field, surge immunes are needed for this enemy. Malevolent Lion has 420,000 health with the 40,000 health shield, which regenerates twice. This effectively gives them 500,000 health. They also deal 9.9k damage, giving them 29.7k DPS. Malevolent Flying Cat has 1.82 million health, with a shield health that is 1.34 million, giving them an effective health set of 5.84 million if you decide to brute force them. It is best you break their first shield with Supercar or Cat Researcher before the main fight starts. This enemy also has a 50% chance to spawn a level 2 mini wave. Since this enemy deals 53,000 damage, this means the mini wave will deal 10,800 damage. Malevolent Island is somewhat tankier than Manic Island, but instead of critting, they just spawn a level 1 Death Surge that spawns between 250 to 750 range. Malevolent King Dragon has a shield health that is at 70,000 health, and with 4 knockbacks, this gives them an effective health of 980,000. Treat them as a slightly stronger Manic King Dragon. Last but not least is Malevolent Chimera, who differs somewhat compared to the other Titan enemies. Instead of having a base range of 320, they have a base range of 160, but have an Omni Strike that goes up to 320 range. They also have a 20% chance to deal a Savage Blow that deals 6 times their base damage, dealing 198,000 damage. They also have a 500,000 health shield, meaning if you don't pierce it, you're dealing with an enemy that has 4.5 million health. Now we have the new subchapter added, Truth in Extremes, but before we get into the new stages, we have new UL stars. 4-star is now available for Mudas Beach and Cat Chasing Village. Now about the new subchapter. The gimmick for this subchapter is that every 2 stages are the exact same, except the main boss is different. For Furious Field and Mirage Meadow, they feature BB Bunnies, Owlbros, Squirrels, Gokurakus, Midnight D's, and Boar Juniors. The boss of the first level is a Mammoth, and the boss of the second level is the Cosmic Cyclone. For the Crag of Monte Cristo and the Beast of Monte Cristo, there is Low Doges, Imperator Seals, Arians, and the new Mini Angel Cyclone. The boss of the third level is Loki, and the boss of the fourth level is the Feliverin. For Blessings in Sand and Misfortune in Sand, there are those guys, Mega Babas, Shadowboxer K's, and Akis. For the 5th level, the boss is King Wawa, and for the 6th level, Pubsley's Comet is the boss, along with the addition of a Mr. Puffington. To match the 9 brainwashed units, there are 9 stages, each featuring the Malevolent counterpart as a boss. Malevolent Mohawk's level is called Century's End and features Akudoges, Sinner Snitches, Cerberus Kids, 2 Le Behemoths at 200%, and an infinite amount of 200% Fallen Bears. For Malevolent Eraser, their level is called Demon Eraser, and there are some Mistress Celebudos, Lemurs, Angelic Gories, Zurziels, and Honey Wanwans. For Malevolent Dark, their level is called Hyper Berserker, and there are Sinner Snitches, Devil Wives, Condemned Pangs, Akugories, and a Wicked Face. For Malevolent Macho Legs, their level is called Devilish Strides, and there are Surrels, Akugories, and an Otham. For Malevolent Lion, their level is called Ruthless Tyrant, and there are some Brawlos and a random Crazed Cow. For Malevolent Flying, their level is called Apocalypse, and there are 5 Midnight D's, a Mr. Puffington, a Gokuraku, and Infinite Moths. For Malevolent Island, their level is called Adrift in Fear, and there are Metal Doges, Metal Hippos, and a Super Metal Hippo. If you fail to beat the level in 8 minutes, 5 300% Sir Middle Seals will spawn. For Malevolent King Dragon, their level is called Spitting Death, and there are Gories, Mega Babas, along with the Master A, a Rain D, and an Arost. Lastly, for Malevolent Chimera, their level is called Titanic Rampage, and there are Babas, Lil Doges, a Dachshund at the start, and 2 Delphinas during the battle. The Behemoth culling stages have finally come to an end, and with them comes a new stage that rewards a one-time rare ticket for beating them. All of them feature the mighty Ensanglion as the boss. The final level of the Hidden Forest of Gapra includes Squirrel, Akudoge, Devil Wives, Surrels, Akugories, and Honey Wanwans. The final level for Ajvini Desert includes Trolley Bloggers, Jackie Pangs, Wild Doges, Arians, and Cumulus Gallus. The final level of the Jin 4 Volcano features Croxos, Hypos, Wild Doges, Mistress Celebudos, Scissoroo, Scissor Rex, and Suide Pigakis. The 16th anniversary Miku enemies featured in new stages for the collaboration. The first level features those guys and Penlight guys. The second level features Penlight guys, Snake, Croco, and Squirrel. The third level features Penlight guys, Miku Doge, Celebudos, and Miku Gories. The fourth level features Doge Dark, Gory Black, Shadowboxer K's, and Penlight guys. The fifth level features Cerberus Kids, Akudoge, Penlight guys, Devil Wives, and Akugories. The 6th and last stage features Miku Doge, Miku Gory, Trolley Bloggers, The Sloth, Miku Bear, and Penlight guys. 2-star and 3-star Snow Miku has been nerfed. 2 stars are now at 1.5 times magnification, and 3 stars are now at 2 times magnification. There are new River City stages. The first is a 400-meter relay featuring Snake, Hippo, Kangaroo, Teacher Bear, LeBoyne, White Balls, and the Winds. One of the continuations features BB Bunnies, Sir Seals, Red Balls, Red Winds, Shy Boys, and St. Elizabeth II. The second continuation features Snake, The Face, Metal Balls, Black Winds, Gory, One Horn, and Jackie Pang. The 800-meter relay features those guys, Metal Hippos, Muth, Red Winds, and White Balls. Continuation 1 features Doge Darks, Ginger Snatches, Elizabeth II, One Horn, Red Balls, and Black Winds. The second continuation features Doge Dark, Gory, The Winds, Auto Smack You, Metal Balls, Dark Otters, Shadowboxer K, and Kangaroo. The 1600 meter relay features Doge Dark, Master A, One Horn, Dakshun, along with white, red, and black balls. Continuation 1 features white, red, and black winds, Dooch, Gory Black, Arost, Boar, and Lenora. The second continuation features white balls and winds, red balls and winds, and black balls and winds. For the miscellaneous changes and additions, Growing Evil has been added as a Catamine stage. 2-star Mischievous Schemes is at 1.5 times magnification. There are 2 new Meow medals, both platinum grade. One for clearing all of the Behemoth Calling stages called Behemoth Calling, and the other for clearing all of the Brainwash True Form stages called Malevolence. You can skip the animation when growing cat fruit seeds to cat fruits, growing behemoth stones into behemoth gems, or merging talent orbs by tapping the screen once. Other things added are a new cat combo called Bring It On featuring Kingpin Riki. This combo is a unit defense up small. Lastly is the new user rank rewards, in which user rank 21,000 gives a rare ticket, user rank 21,100 gives a platinum shard, and a user rank of 21,200 gives 5 Catamine A's. This update was really huge compared to the last few updates. We finally got to see the end of the Behemoth Culling stages that has a really cool boss battle with an evil twin of Ganglion. Though I'm not really sure how I feel about the Brainwash units having their true forms being added to stages, mainly because they're an extremely hard unit to get from the rare cat capsules. At least with the little cats, they came in a capsule in which they were the only units you could get. I hope that they decide to either A, add these units as a permanent addition to the gacha pool, like how the Grandin units were added, or B, given their own set to roll and to unlock, similar to the Little Cats. Anyways, how do you guys feel about this update? Well, let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to give this update analysis video a like, and if you enjoyed what you see here, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, as this lets me know that I should continue this sort of content. Also, shout out to Oppenheimer for being a gold member. If you wish to receive a shout out, then become a silver member or higher, and you can feature your name beside a unit of your choice. Also, being a member gives you an exclusive role in my Discord server, for which you can find a link to in the description of this video. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day.